Welcome to Texas All-Star Wrestling. Miss Fantasy here with me, and I'll be out in just a moment. He'll be going into the ring here on Texas All-Star Wrestling today. Plus, the $1 million man, Bruiser Brody, is back on Texas All-Star Wrestling tonight, and we've got another one of those monstrous six-man tag team matches. Remember last week in Austin when the ring collapsed? Well, we've got a new reinforced ring and another big six-man tag team match to bring to you. Other exciting matches, so don't go away. It's Texas All-Star Wrestling, the hour of excitement about to begin. Miss Fantasy.
Back up a little bit when you talk to me, Steve Stacks. Don't stand too close.
I understand that you have a new feature that you're going to incorporate into Texas All-Star Wrestling called Up Front with Fantasy.
That's right, and I might even take over your job, Steve Stacks.
Well, let me ask you what Up Front with Fantasy is going to be.
Up Front with Fantasy, everybody has seen Piper's Pit and Jesse's Body Shop. This is going to be a lady's point of view on the wrestling business, Steve Stacks.
What can you bring out that Rapido and I cannot bring out?
Hey, I can bring out plenty. I can ask questions that you don't know how to ask people, Steve Stacks, like that stupid big fat Bubba and the American Force. They ain't nothing. This is going to be next week. I'm going to have a very, very special guest that I met. All you ladies, be prepared. Stay tuned and tune in because you're going to love this guy. I know it's going to be great. I want you to see what's going on. I'm going to ask the kind of questions.
Tell us who he is.
I don't want to tell you who it is, Steve Stacks. Why don't you just wait and see? I don't have to tell you nothing. But I'll tell you this. I might even have your job by the time it's all over because I'm going to ask all the questions that you don't know how to ask.
Well, you don't want me to get next to you. I'd appreciate it if you'd keep your hands off me.
Well, looks like you need to get some new clothes. I thought we told you that before.
Well, there you have it. Coming up front with Fantasy here on Texas All-Star Wrestling. Don't go away because our first exciting match with Chris Adams in the ring right after this. Texas All-Star Wrestling will be in Georgetown at the Community Center on Tuesday, January the 7th, 7:30 starting time. Come on over to Georgetown and enjoy the matches. And Texas All-Star Wrestling returns to Waco at the Convention Center on Saturday, January the 11th, 7:30 starting time. The Texas Cup is in Texas, and it will be on the line in the main event where there's $10,000 in Waco on the 11th. Such stars as Bruiser Brody will be there. Big Bubba, the Zambuie Express, the Cowboy Scott Casey, Austin Idol, and many, many more. They're all battling for that $10,000, which is on the line in the main event. And 4 lucky fans in Waco will be selected, given ringside tickets to the finals at the Hemisphere Arena in San Antonio on the 26th of January. And if the wrestler who wins the main event in Waco wins the main event there in San Antonio, then the Texas Cup will be presented at the Convention Center in Waco. And the fans who have been selected will be shown on television with that wrestler and have their picture taken with him. So it's a Texas Cup in Waco at the Convention Center, Saturday, January 11th, 7:30. Advance tickets at Marcy's Hamburger, number 754-3821. Scott Casey.
Mr. Stack, do you by any chance know whose face is on a $10,000 bill?
No, I sure don't.
Do you, Mr. Bubba?
No.
Well, neither do I. I've never seen one, but I guarantee you, between the two of us, one of us has got to be able to see that. And it may happen there in Waco. I want to find out who's on a $10,000 bill, and I also want to win that Texas Cup, don't you?
Oh, yeah. It's the most prestigious cup in all of wrestling. And not to include that, just imagine winning the whole shebang. $100,000. If you're a depressed man, that sure put a smile on your face.
Absolutely. It's going to happen, folks. The biggest thing since sliced bread. I'm telling you right now, the Texas Cup is where it's at. Nothing else. I don't care if you want to watch. It doesn't matter. The Texas Cup is where it's at.
Bruiser Brody will be in Waco on the 11th.
Let's see something about
Well, they have the introductions, ladies and gentlemen, from Mark Nolte, our ring announcer here at the City Coliseum in Austin for Texas All-Star Wrestling tonight. Buddy Marino, the South American heavyweight champion, against Chris Adams. Chris Adams off with the jacket. Well, you remember last week, Chris Adams out here battling with Scott Casey, and things completely got out of hand. And Chris Adams using that belt to pound and take care of Scott Casey. And Casey was pinned, but I don't think it was. And I think the fans know at home that Scott Casey would have never been pinned if Chris Adams hadn't used that belt. Back here with me this week, Doyle King of the Radio Wrestling Network. And Doyle, it's good to have you back.
Well, thank you very much, Steve. It's good to be back here in Austin. You know, there's a special match that has just come underway. I don't know all the details about it, but I understand that it's going to be on television, a cage match between Adams and Casey.
Well, we just understand that next week, here on Texas All-Star Wrestling, we'll have a cage match from the Corpus Christi Memorial Coliseum where our cameras are going live, and you'll be able to see that match from Corpus Christi. It's the first time ever on television, I'm talking about live, a cage match.
That is amazing, Steve. We're going to look forward to that. Whoa, what a toss there on Adams, and a drop kick sends him all the way over the top.
Over the top, out onto the timekeeper's table, and Chris Adams doesn't like it as he toes a chair in as Buddy Marino, the South American heavyweight champion, had Chris Adams sailing over that top rope. Well, we've got another one of those big six-man tag team matches ready for you today. You remember the last time we had one, the ring collapsed. We had to get a reinforced ring, and it's ready to go here tonight. This ring has been double reinforced, so we'll wait till that six-man tag team comes. And, of course, when all those big wild guys get in there tonight, we hope this ring holds up.
Well, you know, Steve, they've put some extra chains under the ring, and they've taken those 2x8s and replaced them with 2x12s. I don't think that this one is going to break down, but you never can tell what will happen with those super heavyweights now from Texas All-Star Wrestling.
I want to tell all you fans watching that we've got another one of those six-man tag teams, like I told you, coming up later today. And the reason for that is the six-man Texas tag team title is coming to Texas All-Star Wrestling, and that tournament will be held throughout the state of Texas, and the finals will be at the in San Antonio at the Freeman Coliseum, I believe, on January the 12th.
Adams has got his opponent locked up with that head scissor right in the center of the squared circle. Of course, Chris, the camera hog that he is, looking right into the camera and smiling about everything that he does as he tries to put his man out.
Well, as we look down here to the right, coming up now is a man we want to talk to about what is happening. We were not only with Chris Adams. Scott have been informed just before you come out that you will be in a cage next week on television with Chris Adams.
Right, Steve. I'm only here to comment. I'm not going to get involved in this match. I want to say that to Rapido, too. I'm only here to comment. I'm not going to get involved in this match. You know, last week he hit me with his belt. And I tell you what, there's no telling what he might try to do this week. But next week, I've got him in Corpus Christi in a cage, and it's going to be filmed live. It's not going to be anything that you folks would say, well, like Steve would say, this was shot last week and you're seeing it this week. It's going to be done live in Corpus Christi, and it's never been done before. And I'm going to show the Englishmen what the saying means when they say, fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman.
Well, Scott, I've known you for a long time, and I know the way that he got to you last week here at the City Coliseum, Austin. The fans know also there's no way he's going to pin you without pounding you over that head with that belt.
He can't take a thing into that ring, Steve Stacks, or Rapido. He can't take his belt. All he can take is his body and his talent, and therefore lies the answer to the match. Who's the best? You know, God once said he made 1,000 questions and only 250 answers. Let's see if one of the answers is in the 250 for him. I don't think so.
I know the fans in Corpus Christi and throughout the Texas All-Star Wrestling Television Network are going to get a first as we'll put up a cage for television. That's the first time it's ever been done. As you said earlier, we showed a lot of videotapes, but never live.
Yes, I'm just here to scout, Steve. If you want to go ahead and comment, I'll go along with you. I want to see what he's going to try to do with the South American heavyweight champion.
He must have pulled the hair there, I believe, to get Buddy Marino back into the head scissors. And Scott, a little later on here on Texas All-Star Wrestling today, we got another one of those big six-man tags coming up. You remember the last time we had one, the whole ring collapsed.
I'm telling you what, Steve, you know, they can say what they want about wrestling around the country, but when it comes to wrestling here at Texas All-Star, you never know what's going to happen. We had a couple of 1,000 pounds just in one corner out there, and when that ring went in, it looked like a herd of buffalo trying to get out of a water hole. And I tell you, it was something to behold.
Right now, it's Chris Adams still having the head of Buddy Marino tied up in between the legs with that head scissors. And now Marino gets the leverage going back, and he had Adams down for a count of 2. Now the referee, Manuel Villalobos, here for this match.
I might add something here. As you folks can tell, this is an entirely different ring from the one that you saw last week because it caved in. If you have ever taken a fall on concrete, that's what this ring is like. I have never in my life witnessed a ring that was suffering. These guys are doing some unbelievable bump taking in there, and I got to give them credit. As much as I hate you, Chris Adams, you're a man of your word, and you're out there wrestling like you normally do, but that is the hardest ring, Steve, I have ever seen in my life.
There's a super kick from Chris Adams. He knocks Buddy Marino back into the rope, and now he ties him up, and it looks like he did this to you last week, Scott.
That's right. I was lucky enough to get out of it when he tied me up. Now watch, he'll probably do what he did before. No, what's he going to try to do? He's going to take a chair.
He is going outside. He's got a chair, and he's bringing it into the ring. Here he comes with a chair. Oh, Buddy kicks him down. Buddy gets untied from that rope.
That's why he's a South American heavyweight champion.
The bell is sounding. I believe that's going to be a disqualification for bringing the chair into the ring. And Chris Adams slammed into the chair. Buddy Marino goes after Adams. Adams gets out of the way.
That's one tough Venezuelan. He's a tough man, any way you want to look at him.
Adams throwing the chairs in as he is cleaning out here on Texas All-Star. Scott, thank you for coming by. We look forward to seeing you in the ring in Corpus in the cage.
Bye-bye. Adios, amigos.
There you have Scott Casey, ladies and gentlemen. Buddy Marino has his hand raised as Chris Adams disqualified for bringing in the chair. Stay tuned, because when we come back, the $1 Million Man, Bruiser Brody, will be here. Ladies and gentlemen, the ambulance has arrived. That signals the arrival of none other than Bruiser Brody, as he'll be coming out of that ambulance. Gary Hart is right there. And here comes one of the ambulance attendants. And there he is, Bruiser Brody.
Gary Hart, so confident in his $1 Million Man, the man that he paid $1 million for, Bruiser Brody, that he now brings an ambulance to ringside with him, and Brody rolls the gurney down there. He's so confident of sending his man to the hospital, Steve. The arrogance is unbelievable.
Well, here we go. It's Bruiser Brody in the ring against Rudy Gonzales. The referee is Manuel Villalobos. The announcer is Mark Noty. Brody starts, and Hart with his $1 Million Man in the ring. Brody with forearms knocks Rudy Gonzales down. Last week, people were wondering what happened to the two gentlemen. They were both taken to the emergency receiving center, and one of them's going to be out for a long time. Bill Rathke's feeling a lot of pain in that shoulder where he get clobbered with that 2x4, but Mike Scott won't be wrestling for a while.
That neck, Brody came down, and of course, after that, we saw when Brody came back out again here, Gary Hart's $1 Million Man. He came back out, interfered in a match between the one-man gang and Killer Brooks, and the ring literally collapsed with these super heavyweights here in Texas All-Star Wrestling, Steve.
Well, Rudy has been thrown out to the crowd. Brody is right over there with him. Brody takes Rudy Gonzales. What's he going to do with him? takes him around to where the timekeeper's table is, slams his head into the timekeeper's table. As you can see, this wild maniac, Bruiser Brody, here we go. Just about like last week. He uses everything he can get his hands on. It doesn't make any difference. If you remove that table, he would go out back somewhere and find one or go to a restaurant next door and get one.
Oh, look at that. With one arm, Brody just slams Gonzales into that table. He leaned the table up against the ring, and now it's knocked down, and Gonzales, his opponent, is down here on the ring floor. I don't understand why the referee doesn't go ahead and count these men out here.
Well, Brody is wise enough. He knows how to break that count, and now they are back into the ring. Here comes Brody bouncing off the rope. Big kick. There goes to the side of the jaw of Rudy Gonzales. And Bruiser Brody, I'll tell you what, I just don't know about this. Money changes everybody.
This is the, who would have believed that Gary Hart and Bruiser Brody together after what these men have gone through in the past. But like you said, Steve, money does mean everything to this kind of people.
Big chop. Down goes Rudy Gonzales. That's right on the throat. Brody yells for a chair. Gary Hart throws it in. Brody straightens out the chair with that big boot.
Oh, the bell is, there's the bell. It's going to be another disqualification, but watch this. He's got Brody, once again, he's going to come up there with that pile driver, picks him up. Look at that. He's got him right over the center of that chair, toying with his man, just holding him there, Steve. Why do they stop this?
He just holds him, and now he drives his head into the chair.
Did you see Gonzales' head bounce up there?
He is he's out. The match is already over. Brody's going to count himself. Brody keeps slapping the mat. Bruiser Brody, the wild $1 million man. The $1 million paid by Gary Hart, and the $1 million man wins another one. And the ambulance attendants will have another job of taking Rudy Gonzales out. Now here goes Brody with a 2x4. Where's he going now?
You know, he used that 2x4 last week. Look at him, smashes it right across that table again. Brody.
He's after the ring announcer, Mark Nolte, and he pushes him down.
Nolte knows enough to get out of there.
Nolte's smart. I would be running also anytime that Bruiser Brody comes after me.
Brody, probably one of the most devastating men in professional wrestling today. He's a wild man. There's absolutely no controlling Bruiser Brody, the $1 million man, as he's so subtitled now.
Now, here he comes. What's he have? He broke that 2x4 in two. Now he's got two pieces. That's double trouble for somebody.
They need to get some help out here. He could kill that man.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Bruiser Brody is going to take Rudy Gonzales out. He's going to roll him out of the ring. And he'll be loading him up on the gurney, I'm sure, and taking him out just like he did last week. And how many weeks are we going to have to put up with $1 million man?
Something needs to be done about this, Steve. There's no way that this should go on with Brody. This is 2 weeks in a row that he's injured people and sent them literally out of the wrestling business.
Look at this. He's just full of it. He just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. The $1 million man, Bruiser Brody. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because we'll be back with Killer Brooks right after this. Tech people. gentlemen, there you have the introductions of the match between the Hitman and Killer Brooks. And coming up here with me now is Chris Adams. And Chris, earlier when you were in the match, Scott Casey was here, and we referred to what happened last week here at the City Coliseum. And you're going inside a cage next week in Corpus Christi, where we'll have our television cameras live.
Let me just ask you one question. What did happen? I mean, what did happen last week?
Well, it seemed to me that things got out of control. You couldn't stand the heat. You took the belt and you hit Casey over the head with it.
I didn't hit the belt. I didn't hit him with a belt. I did not hit Casey with a belt. Casey is always running away from me. He's a coward, and that's the whole reason that I needed a cage, so that he wouldn't keep running away. And I'm looking forward to a cage at Corpus Christi, because there's nothing I'd like better than to ram his head right from one end of the other to the other, or scrape it along that nasty, vicious, horrible wire. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but I also understand, you know, that you're putting yourself in the position for the first time ever on television, live television, to go inside a cage, and you have to back up everything you're saying.
Listen, it was my idea to have a cage match in the first place. I don't know what Scott Casey's been saying. I don't know what he's told you. I don't know what he's told the people. But it was my idea to have a cage match, and the whole reason for having a cage match is so he stops running. I told you once before that I have revenge on my mind. I haven't got revenge yet, and I will in a cage where he can't run. And I'll tell you what, Steve, I'm going to scrape his forehead from one side of the cage to the other until it's raw. I mean it.
Well, stand by as we take a look at this action in the ring. The Hitman, David Patterson, down he goes. A little hair pulling there from Killer Tim Brooks here on Texas All-Star Wrestling. Don't forget the cage match here on Texas All-Star Wrestling. Plus, next week, another one of those big six-man tag team matches. And you'll see Austin Idol, Killer Brooks, and Bruiser Brody teaming up in that six-man. Oh, what a fight we've got going on for Texas All-Star Wrestling six-man Texas tag team titles. Plus, the Texas Cup is coming to Texas All-Star Wrestling in January for 10 days. You don't want to miss that. And Chris Adams, I know you are involved in the Texas Cup. There's a possibility you can win $100,000.
I understand that they've invited the very, very best wrestlers in the world today to come and wrestle for this Texas Cup. Is that right, Steve?
That's right. They're calling them from the WWF. We got the Wild Samoan Seeking Alpha, plus the Tonga Kid, and I'm telling you, they're coming from all over. Kamala and the Zambuie Express from the AWA. You're representing world class. Texas All-Stars Wrestling will be represented by the $1 Million Man, Bruiser Brody.
Just like I said, the best wrestlers in the world, and that's the whole reason that I was invited. And let me tell you one thing. I know there's some big guys in there, but I'll tell you what, brawn does not beat brains. I have brains. I'm the best athletic wrestler in the world today. I use my brains. I use my super kick. I use my athletic ability. And people like Bruiser Brody or Kamala do not frighten me. They do not frighten me. I just have to keep away from them and hit them when I can. I'm telling you what, Steve, this Texas Cup is a big deal, and I aim to win it.
Well, there's a possibility you can win it with your skills, and also if you resort to the tactics like I saw last week.
What do you mean you saw?
In the ring here at the City Coliseum.
Are you saying that I did something?
I just don't think you could have beat Scott Casey fair and square.
I beat Scott Casey fair and square in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3, in front of millions of viewers, and you know that, the viewers know that, and I'm sick and tired of him running away, and that's the whole idea of having a cage match.
I don't guess you hit the referee either.
What referee?
That's what I thought you'd say. Well, I'm going to see you in Corpus Christi next week inside that cage.
That's good, because I'll be there, and Scott Casey will be there, and he won't be able to run away.
And also, you'll be locked inside that cage with just you, Chris Adams. You cannot bring any belts. You cannot bring any foreign objects into the ring.
Listen, Steve, I do not need to bring anything into the ring. My wrestling abilities, my athletic ability, my superb brain, my superb thinking in the ring does not require chairs, does not require belts, does not require ropes. It doesn't require anything. And that's the whole reason, like I told you before, that I need a cage so that Scott Casey can stop running away and I can get revenge on everybody. that took a sniff of my hair at the Cotton Bowl.
He got a sniff of your hair. He also was the first man to remove your mask. You didn't like that one bit. I happened to see that. It's Killer Brooks in behind here on the hitman, David Patterson, Texas All-Star Wrestling at the City Coliseum, Austin, Texas. We're on the road, and we're going to be on the road next week at the Memorial Coliseum in Corpus Christi, where the cage will be up around the ring, and Chris Adams will be battling Scott Casey.
Steve, you know where I come from? I come from England, which is a country full of culture, full of history. And I came over to America, which is no more than 200 years old, and people think that it has history. There's no history in America. Cowboys. I hate cowboys. And even more than cowboys, I hate cowardly cowboys, and I hate cowardly cowboys that cut my hair. And I'll be pleased to get Scott Casey in the middle of a ring with a 10-foot cage wrapped around it so that he cannot run away.
Well, as you see Killer Brooks throwing the hitman outside the ring, you know, I had a lot of great wrestling friends that came from England also. Les Thornton, as you probably know well, Lord Alfred Hayes, many, many others, but the gentleman Chris Adams is of a different breed.
Well, all the top wrestlers come from England and Europe, obviously, because, you know, I mean, that's where it came from. I mean, wrestling didn't start in America, you know. I mean, it's thousands and thousands of years old. In fact, it was invented by the Romans.
True,
which is in Europe.
Coliseum.
Okay. Well,
Brooks blocked there by the hitman. The hitman turns it around on Killer Brooks. The hitman with a knee to the midsection, and he starts to pound on the head of Killer Brooks. They're in the corner. Armand Hussein is at ringside. The Midnight Cowgirl is also at ringside as the hitman is up on the ropes, pounding on Brooks.
Killer Brooks has got this match in hand, and I know he's going to bash this hitman. What's his name, hitman?
David Patterson, the hitman. He's thrown off by Brooks.
Well, Brooks is in full control of the match now, and I'm fully sure that Brooks will win. You know, Steve, a lot of people are beginning to tell me that, wow, you know, when you came over from England to America to begin with, you were a nice guy. Everybody liked you, and now you've changed. Well, you know, people are wrong. I haven't changed. I'm just as good looking as ever. I'm just as fast as ever. I'm just as good, if not better, at wrestling than ever. So how have I changed? It's not me that's changed. It's the people that changed. They've changed. It's them that are hypocrites, not me. And all I have to say is, Corpus Christi, cage match, Scott Casey, the cowardly cowboy that always runs away from me. This time, there's no getting away.
There you hear it, ladies and gentlemen, from Chris Adams, who is... Oh, look at this! Hussein helping Brooks. Brooks had the legs on the rope. Hussein held those legs. Announcer Mark Nolte is in there. He said something about, he's telling the referee Manuel Villalobos about the legs being up on the rope. Let's see. Brooks got the 3 count. I don't know whether it's going to stand or not. Asking the crowd, and I saw it. I believe everybody here in Austin saw Brooks' legs on the ropes.
Steve, I knew that Brooks would easily win this match.
Well, the decision is reversed, and now Brooks doesn't like it. And there's a drop kick by the hitman, and Brooks bails out. Well, Chris, thank you for coming by, and we'll see you in Corpus Christi next week inside the cage.
Yes, you will, Steve, and I look forward to it. Scott Casey, you better show up. You better be there, because I'm going to give you the hiding of your life.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned, because we'll be back with more of Texas All-Star Wrestling right after this. Well, this is our Texas All-Star Wrestling close-up today. I'm sitting here with General Skandor Akbar and 3 of the biggest men I've ever been around. General, I hope you have them under control because I feel very uncomfortable sitting here.
Let's have an introduction first. Hacksaw Higgins, Kareem Mohammed, the Zambuie Express, and, of course, Kamala, the Ugandan Savage.
I asked where the other Zambuie Express is. I knew he's in Texas before.
Right now, he's on tour in the Caribbean, doing very well, I might add. Everybody that's connected with the General does extremely well. Now, you know, initially I came to Texas All-Star Wrestling for a purpose, and that was to get even with Al Madrill on a double cross that he and Gary Hart had worked out together. But since then, of course, that's still in my mind, but since then, the gold, the championship goals that Texas All-Star Wrestling has put in front of me, I just can't resist the temptation. Such as the Asian Tag Championship, the Asian Cup, Texas Cup, the historical, yes, the American Force, and their success they've had in Texas All-Star Wrestling, the Texas Cup, and last but not least, the six-man tag championship of the state of Texas. And can you imagine, 3 men over 300 pounds combining to make a team? I might add that the general gets letters, cards, telegrams from all across the world saying, do for me what you've done for Hacksaw, Higgins, Zambuie, Express, Kamala. But remember, it's as simple as you Americans put it. You've got to cut the mustard to be in Devastation Incorporated. Now, I'm getting a lot of letters from irate fans and promoters as well about a shiny object that the Zambuie Express...
I've noticed sometimes it looked like at ringside. Did he bring something out of those trucks?
Maybe it's a figment.
It's lacerated a lot of professional wrestlers.
Maybe it's a figment of your imagination. Maybe he's using anything. But remember, professional wrestling is not a game for patsies. It's a man's game. And that's why when you step in the ring in the squared circle with Kamala, you remember it till your dying day. The same goes for the Zambuie Express. And the same for Hacksaw Higgins. It's simple as this, to be in Devastation Incorporated. I don't tolerate any losers. And these men, for example, Kamala has defeated Andre the Giant, Big John Studd, King Kong Bundy, all within a period of 10 days, and it's on record on the East Coast. And the Zambuie Express, he doesn't take any quarters and doesn't want any at Hacksaw Higgins since returning from the Orient on that successful tour. He doesn't want anything but action, and action you'll get in Texas All-Star Wrestling. Right now, there's other business at hand, and I'm leaving.
Well, General, before you leave, let's pick up one thing. There's $100,000 on the line in the
Texas Cup. I'm well aware of it. Money begets money. I am a millionaire plus 10 times over. But $100,000 is a lot of incentive, and you can bet that Devastation Incorporated will be in each of these cities where this Texas Cup will be held, and the $100,000 will come into Devastation Incorporated.
Well, do you plan on placing these 3 men in the 6-man tag team tournament?
Indeed, I do. I told you that I had an option at any course. And remember, they all weigh over 300 pounds. Can you imagine the devastation and the tenacious that these men possess? But I can tell you this, whenever the general's in any arena, and I want everybody to listen, I want Gary Hart to listen, that the general is #1 in professional wrestling. And I think I've proved it everywhere but All-Star Wrestling. You're gonna say General Akbar, you're gonna say Kamala, you're gonna say the Zambuie Express, Hacksaw Higgins, because it's gonna be a household word. Right now, I've got other business. As I've said before, now I must leave.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The General Skandor Akbar with Devastation Incorporated, and they all go over 300 pounds. Texas All-Star Wrestling will be in Georgetown at the Community Center on Tuesday, January the 7th, 7:30 starting time. And Texas All-Star Wrestling returns to the Convention Center in Waco on Saturday, January the 11th, 7:30 starting time in Waco. The Texas Cup comes to Waco. There's $100,000 on the line for 10 days, and in Waco there'll be $10,000 on the line in the main event. Such stars as the Zambuie Express, Austin Idol, Bruiser, Brody. That's right, the big Bruiser man returns to Texas All-Star Wrestling. He'll be in Waco on the 11th, trying for that Texas Cup and $10,000. The Hitman will be there, plus the Golden Boy, Miss Fantasy. I'm sure she'll be at ringside, the American Force, and much, much more. And 4 lucky fans will be selected in Waco, given ringside tickets to the finals at the Hemisphere Arena in San Antonio on January the 26th. If the wrestler who wins the main event in Waco wins in San Antonio, you'll be presented on television with that wrestler, plus the Texas Cup will be put on display at the Convention Center in Waco. That's Texas All-Star Wrestling with the Texas Cup. Remember, Bruiser Brody will be at the Convention Center in Waco on the 11th. Advance tickets at Marcy's Hamburger, that number 7543821. The Golden Boy and Miss Fantasy.
That's right, Jack Stack. I want everybody to know we're going to be in Georgetown on the 7th. But the Golden Boy is going to take care of business then. Also in Waco, he's going to win that $10,000 from me because He knows I'm expensive, but let me tell you something, Daddy. He knows that I am well worth it. That's why he goes out there and he takes care of business the way he does.
Golden Boy.
You know, Steve Stacks, there's some of the top talent in the world here. The Samoans, the Tonga Kid, Wahoo McDaniel, just to name a few. And there's a lot of hard things to go through to win this Texas Cup, but I don't care whatever it takes. I'm going to walk away with it, brother, because I want the $10,000, because I'm going to buy her a mink coat. You understand?
The Golden Boy will be entered in the Texas Cup. Remember, Bruiser Brody on the 11th of January in Waco. Thank you.
You know me. Tag team action. One fall. TV time remaining. The television main event. In the ring now from New York City, New York. 298 pounds. The returning Hacksaw Higgins. And his partner weighing 460 pounds from Africa, Korean Mohammed Zambuie Express. Their opponent, Austin's favorite son, 298 pounds, Bobby Duncum. And their partner from Offense Race, Chicago, Illinois, 467 pounds, the one-man gang. And from Huntington, West Virginia, 431 pounds, the United States heavyweight champion, Big Bubba.
Well, there you have the introductions, ladies and gentlemen. Our TV main event of the evening is a six-man tag team match, but there looks like there's one missing, and we just been informed that the Russian Korchenko, who was supposed to come out here with the Zambuie Express and Hacksaw Higgins, was jumped in the back on the way to the ring by the one-man gang and Big Bubba, and we understand he may have suffered a leg injury. We'll have to check on that, and we'll let you know more later on if they tell us, or we'll pass it on to you next week, as this is our TV main event. Well, Doyle, what an exciting night for Texas All-Star Wrestling. Last week, we had one of these six-man tag team matches, and the whole ring collapsed. Let's see what's going to happen here.
It surely did. Once again, Steve, they've got these big super heavyweights in here. The team of Duncum, the gang, and Big Bubba weighing in at nearly 1,200 pounds just on that one side of the ring alone.
Yeah, and there's 400 plus and 300. That's 700. And if the Russian had been there, but another 300 and some, so they'd have been around 1,200. I don't think the ring could have took 2,400 pounds. I don't care how much it's reinforced.
You know, this could tell the tale of whether this ring reinforcement for these super heavyweights is going to take or not. We've heard from Scott Casey already talking about the ring being so hard, just like concrete out there tonight, because of the reinforcement that they've had to do because of these giants of men.
Well, it's 2 against 3. And look at Big Bubba knock Hacksaw Higgins down. And the reason you're seeing so many six-man tag team matches is we're going into a tournament for the Texas six-man tag team title belts, where the finals will be held in San Antonio on January the 12th. Elimination matches throughout the state of Texas. And you're going to see a lot of super heavyweights in the Texas six-man tag team tournament match.
You got Higgins a shove up into the ropes. There's Zambuie really working on Big Bubba. Referee was distracted out there
by Bobby Duncum.
And he didn't see what was going on. One-man gang comes in the ring and tries to get things broken up there and get him off of those ropes and help his newfound friend Big Bubba out.
It's Hacksaw Higgins in behind with the face lock. Don't forget, next week here on Texas All-Star Wrestling, another big six-man tag team match, and that one will have Killer Brooks, Austin Idol, and $1 Million Man Bruiser Brody in the ring. What a six-man tag team match that ought to be. Plus a cage match from the Memorial Coliseum in Corpus Christi. Scott Casey against Chris Adams. That's next week right here on Texas All-Star Wrestling.
You know, this has got to be some of the best wrestling in the world today. They've got the finest talent here in Texas All-Star Wrestling, and they're bringing talent from all over the world in, too, Steve. This impressive Texas Cup with $10,000 a purse for 10 days, a possibility of a man to win $100,000, and the finals all, of course, are going to be held at the Hemisphere Arena in San Antonio on January the 26th.
That's right. We'll be inviting fans from every town that the Texas Cup was held. We'll be inviting them to the finals at the Hemisphere Arena. Look at the Zambuie Express. Pound on Big Bubba. He pulls Big Bubba to the center of the ring. The referee, Manuel Villalobos, is tied up with Hacksaw Higgins. Now the Zambuie is where he doesn't want to be. He's tied up over there with a one-man gang. Big Bubba and Bobby Duncum. He knows that he gets out of there in a hurry.
He sure does. He moves really fast for a big man. How much does this man weigh in at, Steve?
Over 400 pounds.
He does. He moves fast, Zambuie, for a big man. I'd match him up against one-man gang any day, and we've got our chance to see that right now from Texas All-Star Wrestling.
The one-man gang yelling at the crowd, yelling at the Zambuie Express. So far, the ring is held up. The Texas Cup coming to Texas in January for 10 days. Look at that, the Zambuie trying to knock the gang down, but the gang doesn't move. Looks like one of them giant redwood trees out there in California.
He sure does. Zambuie getting the spring off of those ropes and coming in with that barrel-chested chest butt, and one-man gang just leans into him and stands there like a mighty pillar of strength.
A one-man gang raking those fingers around the area of the eyes of the Zambuie Express, and now they're backing up, and Bobby Duncum tags in, the fabulous Texan who makes his home right here in Austin, Texas. And Duncum gets in there and lays some heavy stuff on the Zambuie Express, but he is stopped. And now the Zambuie Express yells to Hacksaw Higgins, and there goes Duncum thrown right into the boot of Hacksaw Higgins.
There's the tag, and Higgins is going to come in. Watch them both work on this man right here. Have him up against the ropes. Now one-man gang comes in too.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because we'll rejoin this match right after this. Now we pick up the action as Hacksaw Higgins catches a boot from Bobby Duncum. Steve Stack here at ringside at the City Coliseum in Austin, along with Doyle King from the Radio Wrestling Network.
Thank you very much, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here in Austin, our state's capital, with the finest wrestling in the world happening in the Coliseum here tonight.
Now we pick up the announcement. 5 minutes have gone by in this match as Duncum tags out to Big Bubba. All you fans watching on the Texas All-Star Wrestling Network up in West Virginia, Bubba is from Huntington, West Virginia, and he's proud to be wrestling for you fans in West Virginia as he catches a big boot and down he goes.
Perhaps the inexperience of Bubba showing there a little bit as he telegraphed, and those fingers up under the throat. Bubba kind of telegraphing what he was going to do. Higgins, a bit more experienced, of course, puts that boot up there, and he's ready for whatever can happen.
The Zambuie Express now choking Big Bubba as he has him across that top rope. Here comes a one-man gang and Manuel Villalobos. Well, what has happened here? The one-man gang is respecting the rights of the official. In other words, he could have pushed that official out of the way and went right out over to help out, but he was asked to get out of the ring, and that he did.
Yes, he certainly did. One-man gang abiding by the rules as much as possible until he gets to that point. If his opponent can get him to that point, if his opponent is able to bring the one-man gang into that frenzy that we've seen the Moon get into sometimes.
The Zambuie Express holding on to Big Bubba from in front. Next week, the cage match from Corpus Christi's Memorial Coliseum. You'll be seeing Chris Adams from World Class against Scott Casey from Texas All-Star Wrestling, plus another six-man tag team match and more excitement. That's next week right here on Texas All-Star Wrestling. Look at Duncum now get in there and throw some punches to the side of the head of the Zambuie Express. Now they're backing into the corner. The Zambuie, did he tag out? I don't know if he tagged.
He's close enough to make the tag, and yeah, he did. Higgins coming in the ring now. He's going to face off against Duncum, a double hammer drive down right across the back, and there's a shot upside the head and an elbow right upside the head.
There's another elbow to the back of the neck of the fabulous Texan Bobby Duncum here on Texas All-Star Wrestling as the crowd begins to chant, Bobby, Bobby, Bobby. Hacksaw Higgins, reversal by Duncum. Into the corner goes Hacksaw. Duncum has him up, drops him across that knee. Duncum covers him up, and here's a count, and it's 2.5.
Almost 3. Referee's hand was down on the end. Here's another sling across. And he was going to go for that backdrop. but he didn't make it. Put that boot right up in there instead, and here comes Zambuie.
The big Zambuie Express pounding Bobby Duncum down. There's a headbutt, and Duncum goes all the way to the mat.
Oh, look,
what's the Zambuie doing? He's going into the trunk.
He sure is. He's got something in his trunks, and there it looks like
that silver object. It always appears every time he's into the ring.
It looks like some kind of a sharp-pointed, is it a fork or something? But
I can't tell what it is, but you can see it on the monitor there. It's very shiny. It's very easy to pick up.
The referee's attention is distracted, and Zambuie just goes to work with that object. The referee still hasn't seen it. He needs to turn around and get over there and look before this man is debilitated here.
Well, the Zambuie putting the whatever it is to the head of the fabulous Texan Bobby Duncum. Our TV time remaining main event. We'll check with our official timekeeper. We must be getting close to time to expire. Here comes a one-man gang over here on the right. He's got a chair. He's coming into the ring. In fact, we're going to have all five in there. Oh, what a hit on the Zambuie.
Look at him bent that chair, Steve. He literally bent that chair across Zambuie's back.
Well, there you get it. The disqualification in that match. Big Bubba, Bobby Duncum, and a one-man gang are going to be the winners as Hacksaw, Higgins, and Zambuie Express are bailed out of the ring, ladies and gentlemen. As you look in the background now, as the one-man gang backs Hacksaw Higgins down. I want to thank Doyle King for being here with us in Austin tonight for Texas All-Star Wrestling. Doyle, appreciate you coming by, and we look forward to seeing you over in Big D.
Well, thank you very much, Steve. It's been my pleasure to be here. Some great matches tonight from Texas All-Star Wrestling, the best in the world right here.
Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to Corpus Christi at the Memorial Coliseum, where we're going to put the cameras live for a cage match featuring Chris Adams from World Class against Cowboy Scott Casey from Texas All-Star Wrestling. Also, another one of those big six-man tag team matches, Doyle, and this time the $1 million man will be in there with Austin Idol, and it's been a while since the fans have seen Austin Idol in Texas, and Killer Brooks. And what a fight that should be from Corpus Christi.
You know it's going to be the evil, devastating power of Gary Hart and his $1 million man.
Things are happening in professional wrestling, and it's with Texas All-Star Wrestling. Remember, the Texas six-man tag team title is coming, and also the Texas Cup for 10 days, a possibility for one man to win $10,000. Texas All-Star Wrestling, it's #1. Till next week, on behalf of Rapido Rodriguez of Spanish Network and Doyle King, this is Steve Stack saying so long for Texas All-Star Wrestling.